right.
Well, I want to welcome you to the Course in Miracles. And I'm Earl Purdy, and I'm going to try to get out of the way enough to let something come through me that really has some sense. That's my goal. That's my goal. Welcome on Facebook Live. Those of you watching on Facebook Live all over the world, I appreciate that. Appreciate you coming online. And just welcome to the Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles. And so we're going to get started. Now, the first thing I want to ask you to do is let go of your idea of what you think this may be. And really let go of your idea that you're in church. Because that's going to kill the vibe. Please let go of the idea that you're in church. This is a class that I'm teaching called The Course in Miracles, which is about removing the blocks to the awareness of love and happiness and peace inside of you. Is that a worthwhile goal?
Yes.
Is that a worthwhile goal?
Yes.
All right. If you look around you, you're surrounded by other beings who appear to be human. Okay? So you are safe. You are safe. How many of you would like to hear something new that would be helpful? Anybody?
Yes.
All right. All right. Let me give you the definition of what new means. Do you know that new means different?
Yes.
I'll say it again. New means different.
Yeah.
That means you're opening your mind to hear something that may be different from what you believe.
Yeah.
Different from what you may believe. Maybe what? Different. From new means what?
Different.
So try to open your mind to hearing something different. Okay? Or if you already think this way, you are having someone that's helping reinforce what you want to believe and what you want to know is true. And that's great, to be surrounded by people who also have a similar thought system. The Course in Miracles is a teaching that's about doing one thing. It's about changing your perception. Changing your perception. What does that mean? It means it's about helping you change your interpretation of everything, because it teaches that your emotional reactions, the way that you feel, it's coming from your interpretations of everything that's happening to you. It's coming from your meanings that you're giving to everything that's happening to you. Your feelings are coming from what you are telling yourself about everything that you are perceiving. I call myself the Divine Repetition Teacher, DRT. If you study A Course in Miracles, all through the teaching, there's two phrases that it uses over and over again. The phrase, or actually the word, remember, remember, it says it over and over again. Remember this, remember this, remember this. And in case people don't know what that means, it'll say this. Don't forget this. Don't forget this. Don't forget this. Now, in my almost 40 years of teaching and learning a course, what I noticed is that it's not the remembering that people tend to do with the course. What they tend to do with the course is analyze it. They want to sit around and analyze it. And the first four letters of analyze is what? Anal. And lies. Anal lies. I don't analyze, I don't analyze or analyze the course. I try to be a conduit for it, to help you hear what it's saying. Whether you buy it or not is up to you. I'm not concerned with that. I don't defend it. I just try to be a conduit of it. And I try to do it in a way that's fun for me and inspirational for me, and hopefully it can be that way for you. Now, I'm going to go through the guidelines for the Course in Miracles class. I've often said when I go through it, I feel like a flight attendant on an airplane. I've said it so many times, and when I say it, people who've been coming for a while, they be looking around. But it's the key to getting the course, which is, these are the guidelines of the course. Would you take a breath? Would you take a breath? These are the guidelines. Remember only this. 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 You need not believe the ideas. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. What did I say? Some of the ideas you may actively resist. What else? Some of the ideas you may find hard to believe. Some of the ideas you may find hard to believe. And others may seem to be quite startling. Others may seem to be quite startling. You are not asked to analyze the ideas at all. You are not being asked to analyze the ideas at all. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. It's using the ideas will give the ideas meaning to you. The use of the ideas will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. If you use the ideas, did I say if you will use the ideas, then the ideas will show you that the ideas are true. So we're going to be on chapter 14, the teaching for truth, the introduction, the conditions of learning, on page 270, the conditions of learning in A Course in Miracles, in the Foundation for Inner Peace version. So we're going to talk about the teaching for truth. Yes, you are blessed. Yes, you are blessed indeed. Yet, in this world, you do not know it. For you have the means for learning what? That you are blessed. You have the means for learning that you are blessed. You have the means for learning that you are blessed. You have the means for learning that you are blessed. You have the means for learning that, you see why I repeat it? It takes about the third or fourth time before a person will begin to hear a damn thing I've said. Okay?
14.
Yeah, got it.
I was checking it, sorry.
Yeah, you gave it to me.
You have the means for learning you're blessed, and you have the means to see that you are blessed quite clearly. You have the means to see that you are blessed quite clearly. And love, the love in you, that's the course calls the Holy Spirit, the love in you, the love in you, the love in you uses logic. The Holy Spirit in you uses logic as easily and as well as does the fear in you, the ego in you. The part of your mind that is afraid and is tuned into fear uses logic just as well as the part of your mind that is full of love. And of course it says, except the conclusions that come from the Holy Spirit, the conclusion that comes from the love in you, guess what? Its conclusions are not insane. And the conclusions of the part of you that's conscious and full of love takes a direction exactly opposite to the direction that the part of you that is full of guilt or fear takes. And it points to heaven, which is perfect joy, as much as your ego or the fear in you points to darkness and death. There's a part of me that is logic, very logical, that points to love and the results of being loving, just like there's a part of me that's very logical, that's based in fear, that comes to the logical conclusions of fear. For instance, if I'm using my fear to make myself attack everyone, then it's obvious that that's going to point in the direction that I'm not experiencing a whole lot of peace.
Right.
It's logical that if I attack you, that the result is not going to be peaceful.
Right.
That's very logical.
Yes.
But it's just as logical that if I'll come from the love and the peace and the joy in me, and I share that with you, that would point to the direction of us experiencing some love and some peace and some joy with each other. So the part of me that's afraid leads to a conclusion just as much as the part of me that's full of fear and separation. And the Course says we've already followed much of the ego's logic. We have already experienced what it's like to come from separation, fear, and guilt. But it also says we've also seen his logical conclusions, which is on CNN, which is in the newspaper in case you're wondering. That's the logical conclusion of thinking that we're separate from each other, not loving each other, attacking ourselves, and not truly taking care of ourselves the way we should, is the experience of a world that it seems like there's a lot of separation, guilt, and fear. So it says you already ought to know the result of listening to your fear and your anger and your guilt. That's what the ego is. It's the part of me that thinks I'm separate from you, and the part of me that thinks that we have fear between us instead of unity between us. It's the you that feels any lack of peace. And so the Course in Miracles says we have followed much of the ego's logic. We've seen its logical conclusions. And since we've seen the logical conclusions of fear, we have realized that you can only see the logical conclusions of fear in illusions. And an illusion is a false idea of what really is. So an illusion is anything other than love. From a Course in Miracles perspective, an illusion is anything that does not last. And do you know that the only thing that lasts, according to A Course in Miracles, which we don't have to believe, is love? So anything that is not rooted in love, by definition, is temporary. And that pretty much explains why nothing around us lasts. There's a fail-safe in this thing. That which created us only creates eternal love. We make up things other than that. And so therefore nothing we make lasts. It's just that simple. Thank God. Do you know people would stay in a miserable relationship that has no love in it forever, some people?
Yes.
Yep.
But it's built into it that if it's not rooted in love, something's going to have to change about it. It won't last. So even if we try to keep ourselves in misery permanently, we won't succeed. You'll die first. One way or another, you're not going to permanently be in any environment that's not loving. Think about what I'm saying. And then the Course in Miracles says, woo! He says that we can't see the results of fear except in illusions, because only in illusions alone their seeming clearness seems to be clearly seen. So while I am in fear, it looks like fear is clearly seen. Woo! So let us now turn away. Let us now turn away from our fearful conclusions and our fearful perceptions, and we should follow the simple logic that love teaches, that the Holy Spirit teaches, the simple conclusions that do what? Speak for truth and only the truth. So we're going to focus on the conclusions that now speak for truth. We're going to take a look toward the alternative. So that is what the first paragraph of that said. What did it say? It says we're blessed, but we don't know it. The part of us that loves us uses logic and reasoning just as well as the part of us that doesn't love us. If we pay attention to the part of us that doesn't love us, it's going to lead us straight into some form of fear and unhappiness. If we follow the part of us that knows what love is, then we're going to see the simple conclusions that speak for that, which is joy and which is happiness. So what are the conditions of learning? What are the conditions? What are the conditions of learning? Yeah, Doug.
Quick question.
Yeah.
In the use of the word attack, what are some of the forms of attack that we might see in the world that we don't necessarily think of as attack, right? So what are some of the words of course might?
Well, anything other than love, anger, guilt, grievances, depression, separation, sickness, lack, disease, those are all forms of attack upon ourselves. What the Course would call that. And the Course says that, it's very interesting, which we don't have to agree with and don't have to believe because it might be new, which means it might be different, which means it might not be something you already agree with. But the truth doesn't care.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I don't know how to break it to you, but the truth could care less whether or not you agree with it. Okay? It doesn't care if you agree. Your agreement doesn't make something true or not. Sometimes our ego is so grandiose that it forgets that it actually thinks something isn't true unless I agree with it.
Right.
Wow. I'm glad that there's something that I can count on that's going to always be there, that's dependable beyond the whims of my ego and moods from day to day to day to day. So Doug, the Course in Miracles says the thought of being attacked is an attack thought. See, most people when they hear attack, they think of, I'm going to aggressively try to hurt something or someone. The Course in Miracles says, no, if you are sitting around thinking that you can be attacked and you're focusing on being attacked or how you could be attacked, he says, that's a thought of attack too. But that's just a thought of being attacked, but it still is the vibration of attack. So many people will see themselves as very nice and kind people who wouldn't hurt anyone unless you mess with me first. Right? So we think kind people attack in self-defense.
Yeah.
Right? But they don't realize that's still a form of attack. Even what we consider to be the greatest enemies of our country, we think it's perfectly normal to see them as our enemies and to feel justified in attacking them. But then if they have the same attitude toward us, they are murderers. If they see us as the enemy and want to attack us, then we are appalled. But if we want to attack them, we see that as being, okay. And if we're appalled at the thought that someone could want to kill us and feel good about it. But then we'll feel good about the idea of our so-called enemies being destroyed. But if somebody else does it from the other side, they're the bad guys. So of course in Miracles is saying to us that there is another part of us that has logic and reasoning, that is sane and loving. And this is the conditions of learning. Let's see what the conditions of learning. He says, if you are blessed and don't know it, you need to learn it must be so. If you are blessed and you don't know it, you need to learn that you are blessed. The knowledge that you are blessed is not taught, but the conditions must be acquired. For it is the conditions that you have thrown away. What does that mean? It means that you are blessed, but you don't have the conditions that make you know you are blessed. And so the Course, you've thrown away the conditions for knowing you are blessed. So what is the condition for learning that you are blessed? There's not a question you can ask that the Course in Miracles hasn't anticipated. And if you will continue to read, instead of stopping and analyzing what you've read, it'll tell you what you're trying to figure out. So if you read the Course, and you come across something in the Course, and you don't get it, and you stop and try to analyze it, you are slowing yourself down. It anticipates that you will not know what it's talking about. And so if you keep reading, it will answer the question. For instance, it says, you can learn to bless, but you can't give what you don't have. So I can't give you what I don't have. 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 I can't give you love that I don't have. I can't give you joy that I don't have. So you got a lot of unhappy people thinking that they're going to make somebody else happy. You got some of the saddest people you could ever see thinking that they are ready to love somebody. It's the funniest thing. Or the person who never smiles, never gives joy, doesn't give kindness, expecting everybody to be kind and joyful around them. You know, if you're the deadest looking person in the room, that is not going to make people want to approach you and get to know you. But sometimes I would do that. I would go to a social gathering, I'd go to a party, and then I would sit there waiting for everybody to come to me, to make me feel welcome. But it took me a while to get, this party will be what I choose it to be. And so if I start extending to everybody around me, I'm going to have a good time. And I'm going to say that was one of the best parties I've ever been to. And it was that way because I gave. And I wasn't waiting for somebody else. So it's saying right here, the knowledge is taught, but the conditions must be acquired because it's the conditions of knowing that you are blessed that have been thrown away. He says, so what do? You learn to bless. You learn to bless, but you can't give a blessing that you don't have. So if then you offer a blessing, it must have come to yourself first. See, I can't give you something that I don't have. So I'm going to offer a blessing because that means I had a blessing to offer you. And the Course says, and you must also have accepted the blessing as yours, for how else could you give it away? If you haven't accepted it as yours, you can't give it away. So that's why miracles, and a miracle is a loving perception. A miracle is a correct perception. The Course says a miracle offers you the testimony that you are blessed. A correct perception will witness back to you that you are blessed. If I have a correct perception of you, I will have witnesses to the fact that I'm blessed. And being in your loving presence, being in your peaceful presence is a testimony to me that I'm blessed just to be in this environment with you. Yeah. I'm glad y'all was thrilled about that. Okay, see, you can't have what you don't give. If you don't have any enthusiasm, your life won't have any enthusiasm. It's the same thing I was just saying. I want what I'm not giving. I want what I'm not giving. I want what I'm not giving. I want the kindness that I'm not giving. I want the forgiveness that I'm not giving. I want the open-mindedness that I'm not giving. I want the support that I'm not giving. I want the abundance that I'm not giving. I want the money that I'm not giving. You see it all the time. Everybody wants what they're not giving.
Yes.
And the Course in Miracles says that if you offer complete forgiveness, which means if I offer you complete love, if I offer you complete love, if I offer you a complete correct perception, then that means I must have let guilt go. So how can I tell when I have forgiven? I have no guilt. I'm not given any guilt. I don't feel any guilt. So if you still feel guilty, according to the Course, you still have not forgiven. And you haven't forgiven yourself. So how do I know if I've forgiven? I have no guilt. How do I know if I've forgiven you? I feel no guilt with you. You feel no guilt with me. Now, I like how the Course in Miracles uses guilt as a teacher because it's the one emotion that people can tend to identify with and relate to. Because we've been taught that good people feel guilty. So we almost wear guilt as a badge of honor. The fact that I feel guilty means I'm a very good person. The fact that no, you just need to stop doing whatever the hell you were doing. Feeling guilty hasn't corrected anything. Nothing. It's when you are no longer doing the thing that you are using to make yourself feel guilty. Now you're doing something. Why do I teach this? Because I need to learn it, and I don't hear it in everyday life.
Right.
I have to be proactive about hearing this. That's why I teach, because I can't forget what I'm reminding everybody else about.
Exactly.
You want to be clear why I'm here consistently every week? It's because when I go out into the world and listening to the average person, I ain't hearing this. So unless I'm proactive about it, I can forget it. Wow.
Thought you were going to twerk there for a minute. Yeah, baby.
Now I know it's a cult. He did the cult dance.
Yeah, you start your shaving kit too.
Notice I gave joy. What did I receive back?
Joy.
Instantly.
Yeah.
The room, the energy in the room changed instantly when I changed what I was giving. That's where your life is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what's happening in your life.
Yeah.
It's a three-dimensional mirror of every bit of energy you're giving out. I was saying to you that if I give enthusiasm, I'll have enthusiasm, right?
Yeah. Right.
As long as I was saying it, you all was exactly the way you are.
Yeah.
The minute I started to demonstrate it,
Yeah.
you demonstrated
Yeah.
it. It's a mirror, you all.
Yeah.
Your life sucks, you suck. Is that plain enough for you?
Yeah.
If your life is boring, you are boring. If no one's really friendly to you, you ain't a very friendly person. And if your life is joyful, you are joyful.
Yeah.
If your life is loving, you are loving.
Uh-huh.
It works both ways. We say love will give you the result just as much as fear will give you the result. But it took me, don't take as long as it took me. Please. Don't let it take as long. Stop looking for people to give you what you aren't giving you.
Yes.
That's the mistake I feel that people make in relationships. They're always trying to fall in love with someone and get in a relationship with someone who's going to give them what they think is missing in themselves. That's not even fair to the person you're trying to be with to give them you. How can you say you love me and you're giving me you?
That's true.
You are not giving, you are not kind, you are not consistent, you don't forgive, you hold grievances, you think everybody else is at fault. Yet you want to give you me. To me. Please don't.
Stop.
And certainly it's not because of the body part you're going to share with me, maybe.
Maybe not.
The body parts you may share with me, maybe. Because you don't have a body part that's in scarce supply.
Losing.
You do not have a body part that's in scarce supply.
Right.
There's no lack of sexual organs. There's not a lack of arms. There's not a lack of legs. There's not a lack of hips. There's not a lack of eyes on bodies. So your body isn't the rare gift that you imagine that it is. I don't know how to break it to you. I know it's your part, so it makes it special. Not everybody else's part, it's yours. when I think about all the things I've done in my life just to experience the opening. That's what I call it now.
The
The
opening.
opening. I really wanted the opening. I did everything for the opening.
That was the end of it all.
Did I say any more? It's the consciousness. It is the mind. It is the consciousness that's the gift. It is the mind that's the gift. Not the opening or the opener. I don't know why I went off on that. It was Marjorie. That's what it was. I thought about it. No, I call it just getting real. And sometimes nothing freaks out people who are spiritual more than someone just being real. Talking about the stuff we all talk about.
Right. That's right.
So I get accused of being obsessed with it because I bring it up. It's funny. You know, I'll have this reputation of being this guy that's so sexual and so into the women and and I keep saying, I wish I would. Who is he? I want to have as much fun as I hear he's having. What was that orgy where? I missed it. I was in it. Oh, I created it too. I need to get more present.
In your
Clarity,
story.
yeah, I need to get more present. I'm having more fun than I know about. Man, it's so unimportant to me to seek the body at the expense of heart and consciousness and love now that it's almost hilarious to me that people think that would be my goal. People throw their body in just as part of the deal when you really are loved and connected. It doesn't become the goal. It becomes, oh, we get by the way. Here's my body.
Upsell.
By the way.
Added benefit.
You know, yeah. Yes. It's called a perk. I used to love to joke and say, your reward is my dysfunctional love. That's what you get. Because I haven't worked out my issues, so you get me, right? So give what you want to receive, be what you want to have. And the Course in Miracles says, if you offer complete forgiveness, what do? He said, well, you must have let guilt go. So I can't forgive someone if I'm full of guilt. Then it says, accepting the truth for yourself and learning that you are guiltless. The atonement is accepting the truth for yourself. So how do you learn that you are not guilty? You accept the truth for yourself. What's the truth? You are sinless, you are guiltless, you are innocent, you are loved. That's what you really are. Anything else that you're telling yourself is a lie.
Amen.
If you're telling yourself you're anything other than love, you are lying to yourself.
Thank you.
And thank God you are not what you think you are. Thank God you are not what you think. I've heard people say you are what you think. That's crap. You are not what you think.
Right.
You experience what you think.
Yes.
You go through what you think.
Yes.
But thank God you're not what you think.
Thank you.
You know, if so, there would be nothing stable about you to know.
Right.
There would be no real being if what you were changed every second, depending on your opinion of yourself. There would be nothing about you that's worth getting to know. Ask yourself this question: who is it that you don't trust the most? It's the person that's inconsistent. It's the person that you don't know each time you see them who's going to show up.
Yeah.
So if that was us, we could never trust each other. There has to be something about us that's real and permanent and unchangeable, that we can always depend on being there. And that's that you are spirit. That's that you are love. You're not your bodies, you're free.
Yes.
You're not your bodies, you're free. When I first heard that was alarming. You know what I love about this? If you're not ready for it, you're going to go to sleep. If you're not ready for it, you're just going to go unconscious. That's what you want somebody who's not ready for it to do. I'd much rather you go to sleep than shoot me. So as you grow spiritually, people who are on a different wavelength from you, they just either go unconscious around you or they move away from you on their own.
Yeah.
You don't have to get rid of anybody when you begin to become more loving. Everybody's just not ready to be as kind and loving as you think you're ready to be. I promise you, they will avoid you like the plague. They will leave your life. You don't have to put them out of your life. They'll leave your life. And the Course in Miracles is saying to us, how could you learn what's been done for you? How could you learn what's been done for you, but you don't know it, unless you do what you'd have to do as if it had been done for you? If I'm blessed and I don't know it, I should do what you would do if you knew you were blessed. If I'm blessed and I don't know it, how do I come to know it? I do what I would do if I was blessed. So if I don't know I'm a loving person, I would do what I would do if I knew I was, which means I would be kind, open, and peaceful. That's what I would do if I knew I was loved. So I'm going to act the way I would act if I knew I was loved, so that I come to realize I am loved. See the answer?
Wow.
Answer. So, any questions, any comments about what I've said so far? Or you just want to share your thoughts in this moment, even though everybody's dying to hear it. We are, really. I'm open. Any questions about that? Dog. Wow. Yes.
Is love a polarity?
Can hear you.
Is love a polarity?
Love is a polarity. If you're in a world of duality, you will see it that way. But in reality, love is not a polarity because there is no polarity in reality. In reality, there's only love. There is no duality in love. There's only duality because we have two different ways of thinking that are totally opposite, which in the world of perception produces what we perceive as opposites. But we don't realize opposites are only there because we are seeing things two ways. Does that make sense? So that's why we see duality. When you wake up spiritually, there won't be any duality because to you the only thing that's real will be love. And in the world of duality, you'll say it's love or a call for love. So that's still focusing on love. So there's only polarity while we're asleep. And polarity has the beautiful job of giving us comparison and contrast so we can make better choices.
That's right.
Right? See, my relationships now are so loving and supportive that I can compare it to when my relationships weren't that way and the attitude I had when my relationships were not that way. So now I would choose for the love because I know what it's like to be full of fear and suspicion. So that, in that case, the duality is helping me because it's helping me choose for love. But once love is all I want, love will be all I see. The problem with perception is your perception will always witness to what you believe. So really, to be enlightened, you got to stop believing what you see. It's just the opposite of what you logically think. You logically think you should believe what you see, but the truth is you're only seeing what you believe. So yeah, you could argue with me all day that the world is not full of loving people. That's because you don't see it because you're not a loving person yet. I'm telling you, you got to stop looking for your world to be opposite to you. It's not. It's not opposite to you. I hear people all the time say, I could never want to kill somebody. I could never murder somebody. Yes, you could. Yes, you could. You wouldn't be seeing it if you didn't also have the possibility. You may not do it, but you certainly have the murderous thoughts. You certainly have thoughts of attack and anger that come up in you. And what you're seeing in a murder is an extreme form of fear and anger.
Yeah.
I can remember thinking that if there were certain races of people that didn't exist, my life would be happier. That's a form of murder. I want you off the planet. I think that qualifies. But now I'm too spiritual. I love everybody all the time. I just never have anger thoughts set up. Boom! Why somebody comes out there because you're lying. Yeah, you still got a lot of anger, guilt, and grievances. Why? Because you see it.
Right.
You see it. Now, you know what will start to happen to attack in your life if you admit it's in your own mind? It will decrease. That's the irony of it. It's the people who pretend they have no anger who are always going through hell and being attacked. The person on their spiritual path that's willing to own their own attack thoughts are the ones that start to have a safer and safer experience. And it seems just the opposite of how it should be. Denial is not a river in Egypt.
Right.
Being in denial doesn't protect you unless you're using denial in this way. Deny that anything not of God can affect you. If it's not coming from God, if it's not coming from love, I will not allow it to affect me. That's a good denial. So the Course says, anybody else?
So he's saying I can't seek for love because I am love.
It's no need to seek for it because that's what you are.
This is what I am.
That's what you are.
Purification is necessary.
Purification is necessary, which is what? Me learning to have a correct perception of myself, me learning how to forgive, me learning how to see things correctly. That's what's called purification. Purification is me letting go of every thought other than the loving thoughts about myself and you. That's the whole process. That's the whole process. And you know what's the cool part about it? You don't have to be in charge of it, and the means for it to happen will be given to you if you would allow yourself to be helped. Then you would have the joy that you're looking for in your life. The Course in Miracles says it is teaching us how to let ourselves be helped. That just shows you how deep we are. We have to study a book that teaches us how to let ourselves be helped. That's awesome to me. It's easier than we're making it. So the Course says, so what you need is indirect proof of love. You need indirect proof of the truth. Because you're in a world that's made out of the denial of love. You're in a world that is without direction. And so the Course says, you will perceive the need for this if you realize that when you say I'm going to deny, the Course says to deny is the decision to not know. So when I'm in denial of love, he says, you made the decision to not know love. You made the decision to not know your abundance. You made the decision to not know your peace. You made the decision to not know happiness, which is a decision anyone is going to make who believes that they're guilty and sinful and bad. And most of us did not grow up in a household where we were being told every day, you're sinless and you're guiltless and you're a priceless treasure and you are only love. Who in the room, and I hope somebody raises their hand, who in the room was raised in a household that's all they heard was about their perfection? Okay, now you understand your life. In case you were wondering, right? If I didn't get that reinforcement, if I didn't hear that, if that wasn't something I was reminded of, there's not but the opposite that I'm going to therefore support. So therefore I'm going to create a reality that's based on the idea that I am not unconditional love. So what you are seeing in your life is a result of the beliefs that you have as a result of what you learned from the time you got here. So how do you change that? You change your learning. What is the Course in Miracles? A new learning. The Course says perception is learning. That you are perceiving what you learned. That's all you're seeing when you look in this room is what you learned. You are calling me a man because that is what you learned. You might be calling me a black man because that's what you learned. And then as soon as you see a black man, it's going to bring up all the associative things that's happened to you since the day you were born and learned around black people. And that's going to figure in your perception of me as I stand up here. All of your experience with everybody with my color skin and everything you learned about that comes to play in your perception of looking at me right now. So you're not seeing me, you're seeing your learning. Perception is learning. So if I want to see something different, I have to learn something different and have to unlearn what I learned first. But demolishing a building doesn't take as long as it does to build one. They can demolish one in 30 seconds, but it took months to build it. So the undoing of your guilt, the undoing of your fear, the undoing of your loneliness, the undoing of your lack doesn't have to take nearly as long as it took you to get all that messed up thinking in the first place. Especially if you let yourself be helped by the part of you that loves you, called the Holy Spirit. That's good news to me.
Yes.
That's good news. And then it says right here, the logic of the world leads to nothing because the goal is nothing. The Course of Miracles says, y'all's goals are nothing. What difference does it make if you got $1 million in the bank and you hate yourself? What difference does it make if you're the owner of a company and you can't stand who you are? It doesn't. Our goals are, the Course would call it, our goal is to achieve things that are neutral. A car is neutral, a house is neutral, a job is neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It's going to be whatever you make it, right? So to want something material, to want something physical as a primary goal is to want nothing because it cannot give you happiness in and of itself. So the world's goals are based on nothing. Watch a few autobiographies of famous people, and it will teach you so many spiritual lessons that'll blow your mind. When you really learn what they go through and what they felt and all the different challenges they've had that we are trying to emulate by saying we want to be famous. And the truth is fame is neutral. Again, it's how you're going to use it. And how I'm going to use it depends on how I feel about myself and how blessed I believe I am. See, when you believe that you are blessed and you believe you're a loving person and you believe you are valuable, then it automatically changes your relationships because there are certain things that you will no longer allow in your experience of a relationship. There'll be things you will not allow anymore, ways to be treated that you will not allow, as well as ways to be treated that you will. See, I think I'm a valuable person. I think someone who has a relationship with me is fortunate.
I agree.
And I believe that I'm fortunate to have a relationship with them.
Right.
Right? So I don't have to chase anything because the first thing that happens when you wake up is you know that you don't have to chase nothing that's yours.
Right.
What's yours comes to you, and it comes to you freely and openly. I wouldn't spend 2 seconds seducing a person unless I know I'm going to succeed. First, let's get it established. I'm going to be successful. Now let's do the dance. Then it's fun because I know how it's going to turn out. But I would never do it wondering if you were going to actually want to be connected to me. No, I don't do it that way. I have to have clear, unmistakable signs that you and I are connected before we connect. I'm not going to go after you to connect. Because that's the logic of my old self. It's not available, I run after it, and since I don't love myself, I'm going to make sure I'm running after what I can never have. And who I can never have. That's part of the logic of being miserable. You can't have what you want. So if I think I'm miserable, if I think I deserve to be miserable, if I think I'm not blessed, if I think I deserve to suffer in any way, I'm not going to ever go after anything that's available to me and that I can have. Because that would be illogical since I think I don't deserve it. As soon as I hear anybody say they're chasing somebody that's not interested, then I know they're just trying to increase their feelings of separation and fear. What undoes the ego, what undoes the fear is desiring what you can have and being able to see what's available to you that you can have. And then appreciating it. And then out of the appreciation of it, it expands and grows. First, I started appreciating a few people in my life, and the more I really appreciated them, more and more things and people to appreciate started to show up without me having to do anything. But you start with the people that's already there. That's easier than starting with the people that's not.
Right.
Unless you're with somebody you don't really like. Then it's what we call work. I'm working on my relationship. Punch in, punch in. I get up in the morning and I go, ding, put my little card in the kitchen. Click. Dear, let's work on our relationship again today and take a lunch break. Why is it so hard for me to working on loving you? I don't. Do you know when you're with someone you love and fully appreciate, you feel compelled to be kind. You feel compelled to be loving. You can't even help yourself. It's like, oh my God. So blessed just to, let me see you in your role one more time. You know what I'm saying? When you love somebody, folks, you don't have to make yourself appreciate them. I would tell a person that was making themselves appreciate me, please stop. That's okay, don't work that hard. I'm whole and complete. I don't really need it to feel okay about myself. So don't you put yourself through all that work, because I'm okay. I'm okay if you don't. So don't worry about trying to work on loving me. Well, I'll tell you what, let's work on loving you. Let's help you love you. Because if you love you, you'd see I was valuable. You would see the beauty in me. So don't work on loving me.
That's right.
Work on loving you. And guess what? Since you're not appreciating me, I'm going to leave. Now, I'm going to give you the opportunity to learn appreciation by allowing someone to come into your life that also equally needs to learn the same thing. And then you all can both work on that together. Because for me personally, I don't really want to be with somebody that doesn't appreciate me and constantly wants to judge me or condemn me. So it's not that I'm not committed to the relationship. I am committed to the relationship because I'm committed to you experiencing the truth and me experiencing the truth and you loving yourself and me loving yourself. So I am committed to the relationship. I am not ever going to be committed to the form of a relationship that brings me no joy and no appreciation.
Thank you.
No, I will never promise anybody I'm going to stay in the relationship with them in the form that we're in if the form is bringing no joy and neither one of us value the relationship enough to make a decision like two adults should be able to do, that we want peace with each other and we're willing to do what's necessary to have that. If I've got to convince you, if I got to constantly convince you, then the truth is we need to change the form of the relationship, because I want a relationship that we have the goal of showing each other that we are blessed by using the relationship as an opportunity to give the blessing and to do what we would do if we were blessed with each other, which is to treat each other with total, full appreciation. And that's what I have for you. Total, full appreciation. Thank you for listening to this Holy Spirit. Wow. Give it to you again. Give it to you. Those of you online. Those of you over here. The Course in Miracles teaches to do not compromise.
Thank you.
The first time I read that, I went, whoo, that's the first book I've ever read that says, don't compromise.
Yeah.
Because every other book goes, compromise. The Course in Miracles says you better not compromise.
Right. Thank you.
Because compromising means you're just willing to accept a little of what you want. That's what all compromise means. Instead of giving myself fully what I want, I'm going to give myself a little of what I want. And then you're going to give yourself a little of what you want, and the only thing you generate is resentment. Compromise about what television show to watch, but never compromise about your right to be loved and to be treated with kindness. I don't compromise about that. Wow. And it's scary, because everybody that still believes in it, they're going to leave your experience or change with you. And so your ego is going to tell you, I better compromise or else I'm going to be alone. When you wake up, when you start to love yourself, being with yourself is the least fear.
Yeah.
I said it again. When you love yourself, you being in solitude with you, that is not something that you fear. It's only when you don't love yourself that you can't spend any time, quote unquote, alone. If you can't spend 5 minutes by yourself without freaking out, why is it that you have a self that's so unattractive to you that you can't spend any time with it? yet you want somebody else to want to be with you. That's only so you can forget how much you don't like yourself.
Distraction.
That's why you're with them, to distract you from the way you feel about you. When you don't love yourself, you can't be alone. You can't meditate. You can't go out to dinner by yourself. I know people that say they can't go anywhere by themselves. And I go, wow, that is deep. You really can't do anything by yourself? Why are you denying the blessing that you are? Yeah. So we're going to do the love offering right now. Thank you. I'm a full-time teacher. Thank you for sharing with me. It's funny how people sometimes say you're in it for the money. I guarantee you, try doing what I do, you know you're not in it for the money.
That's true.
So thank you for sharing with me. Thank you for sharing. A football player that makes $100 million a year, that's pretty much good for doing it for the money. Because they'll tell you, I'm doing it for the money. Football player receiving $100 million a year, people don't have a problem. A spiritual teacher saying, give to me freely, people have a problem with. It's really funny. It's really funny. But I used to be that way, or I would never experience it.
That's right.
There's nothing Earl is ever experiencing that he hasn't done. So everybody's giving me an opportunity to forgive myself. If you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation online, just go to my website, EARL PURDY.com, P-U-R-D-Y, P-U-R-D-Y. And on Venmo, just use my email address, EARLPurdy@EARLPurdy.com. I'm available. I'm an astrologer and a numerologist, as well as a Course in Miracles teacher and counselor. And I've been doing that for almost 40 years. When you come into the physical world, the Course teaches whatever the skill is, whatever you've made, whatever you've learned, Spirit can use that for your awakening. So being on a spiritual path doesn't mean you have to quit your job. It doesn't mean you have to leave everybody you're around. It doesn't mean you have to leave your house. You can become enlightened right where you are with who you're with, doing what you're doing. Except that when love starts to do what you do through you, you have an experience of fulfillment and joy beyond anything you've ever experienced before. So basically, astrology and numerology is a blueprint of the intentions of your soul in coming into this incarnation. Why you're here, what you're trying to do, what are the gifts you came with, what are the lessons you have to learn. But we are in a culture that gives very little credence to anything that's not left brain, that's not just reason and logic. But the intuitive, the psychic, then we're taught, oh, that's just woo-woo stuff. It's the fastest way in the world for you to get information that will help you.
Yep.
That's what it really is. It will speed things up for you. All right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. If you don't want to use it, that's fine. Because there are plenty of people who do. That's what I'm telling you all. Don't try to get any one person's attention and support. If that person isn't interested, they're not the one that's being sent by Spirit.
Yeah.
The person that's been sent by the love in you is not someone you have to conquer. It's not someone you got to be triumphant over. It's someone that is open and receptive. I forgot to announce when we were right at the end. How many of you, because of anything you've heard today, you feel like you want to try to make some different decisions about how you're handling certain parts of your life right now? Anybody? Yeah, anybody? Yeah. That's what a good teacher is. A good teacher is a good motivator. The only thing a teacher can do is hopefully motivate someone to want to change themselves. That's all you can do. Is like the next time you try to change somebody, don't say, I'm going to change them. Tell yourself, I hope I can motivate them to want to make that change.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't change you, sunshine, but maybe I could motivate you to want to make some kind of change. Because you'll never change anybody.
Right.
But I could be a motivator. A good teacher is a motivator. A good parent, a motivator. A good partner, a motivator. So if just one person walks out of this room today and says, I want to act the way that I would act if I was blessed, that I'm going to start trying to follow the love in me instead of the fear in me. If one person does that, then I feel like my job has been done.
Yes.
You don't try to reach everybody. You become open to those who need you just the way you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? There are people who need you just the
Yes.
way you are. Woo! Those are the ones you won't mind helping. Think about that for a second. So, I want you to know that I do 3 Facebook Lives a week, all on the EARL Purdy page, all Mountain Time, 1 o'clock on Sundays, and Mountain Time, 7 o'clock on Tuesdays, Mountain Time. I do the Way of Mastery, which is another very incredible teaching. And then Thursdays, I do the what I call Hardcore Course in Miracles for Course in Miracles students. So I'm able to even get deeper because I'm assuming those that are watching are studying, right? And then you know, you are the testimony that I'm blessed. You are the witness. And I love you so much that if I never saw you again, I would just say, you're where you need to be. There's nobody absent from your life that you need. There is no one absent from your life right now that you need. There is no one absent from your life right now that you need. There is no one that's not in your life right now that you need. And anyone that is not in your life right now, in this moment, you don't need them to be in your life right now, in this moment. So if you're using the present moment to fixate on somebody who's not here, you're using this moment to fixate on someone you don't need. And obviously they don't need you.
Works both ways.
It works both ways.
Dang.
So I can say in perfect peace, I need you.
Yes,
I
I
need
need
you,
you.
bro.
Yes.
Because you are right here with me. All the blessings that the universe could ever give me would come through you right now. And you know what I love about it? It has nothing to do with your cooperation.
Yeah.
I always make all my desires not dependent on anybody else's cooperation. Because if it's my happiness is determined by how I see things, I don't need your cooperation. Wow. And you know what happened? As soon as I didn't need it, it showed up. As soon as I was okay with I had relationships start falling out of the sky. It's like everything that I worked so hard to try to make happen, the minute I didn't need it, it was right there. But when I was needing it, oh please, somebody love me. Somebody love me, please. I couldn't imagine why that wasn't attractive. Please, love me. I need to help me. Because there was a time
Last week.
Bouncers, get him out of here. Of Course in Miracles bouncer will kick you out with love. Get you out. Get you out. Get you out. Because there was a time oh God, come on. There was a time I would have sold my soul for the opening.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
That's right.
I still do it.
Hey, you're innocent.
That's
I
right.
can't find me.
Well, if you can't find any because you don't really want it.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to
Yeah.
find out one day. Yes.
Shame.
Yeah. See, that's going to be the other thing that you're going to get really happy about. Is you're going to realize you're not being denied anything. That anything that's not happening is because you don't want it to happen, and it's for your best interest that it's not happening. So be glad for what's not happening. Be happy about what's not happening. Because if you love yourself, and you love yourself. Anything that would not love you would not be attracted to you. If you're blessed and you don't know it, you need to learn it must be so. You act the way you would act if it had been done. So what do you do if you want something? I'm going to give you one little phrase from the course to remember as you walk away. It's called be it to have it. 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 What does that mean? What does that mean? Be loving to have love. Be joyous to have joy. Be it to have it. If you want to have it, you have to be it. So anything I want to manifest, somebody was asking me today about manifesting. Anything I want to experience, I said, Earl, cultivate this in yourself. As soon as you cultivate this in yourself, you'll have it. That's a universal law. Stop expecting to have what you are not. And you alone. I appreciate you, Holy Spirit. Thank you for coming. Thank you for letting yourself hear this. You're so blessed. And Sheila wants to make a really cool announcement right quick.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Earl. First of all, everybody, give him a
Oh,